Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to this video. In the previous video we saw how to set up a Cloudera manager. We set up a 4-node cluster and we saw that how simple it is to set up a cluster with Cloudera manager against doing all the stuff manually. The only thing we had to do is install or start 4 machines, and after that it was just click 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 and the entire cluster was ready in less than 40 minutes. So we had a 4-node cluster ready in 40 minutes, whereas a cluster setup manually would have taken much more time than that and would have been very cumbersome. Now it's time for us to understand and have a quick walkthrough of Cloudera Manager. We'll look at each and every component and we will basically understand how Cloudera Manager really works. So let's get going. So once you log into Cloudera Manager, you see this particular UI, which shows that Cloudera Manager was installed on December 21st. Right now, these are the services that are running. There is HBase, there is HDFS, there is Hive, U, Impala, MapReduce 1, Uzi, Scoop 1, and Zookeeper. So this is the entire setup that's running right now in our Hadoop cluster. So let's understand each and everything. First, let's look at the warnings. So when you look at a warning and you click it, it clearly tells you what's really required. So for the first case, it expects that our heap size should be around 1 GB. So you can actually click that setting and directly make it 1 GB. So we make it 1 GB, we say save changes, and we can restart. So once you restart, this warning would be gone. So what we see right now is Cloudera Manager makes intelligent recommendations for the cluster based on the cluster size, and we can simply change something and restart the services. So that was our first shot at Cloudera Manager, and we saw that yes, it is intelligent enough to recommend us settings which we can simply change. So let's wait for a moment. We will have the cluster HDFS cluster up and running. So restart went on smooth. You go back to Cloudera Manager, and now it says that looks like we changed the heap size for the name node, but the secondary name node has not changed it. So let's quickly do that. We'll say heap, and we will find the heap size of the secondary name node, and here it is. Let's reset to 1 GB. Click save changes, and let's restart the service. So the second dimension that we saw for Cloudera Manager is, first, yes, it has told us about the intelligent recommendation. Second, it is intelligent enough to convey us that looks there is a mismatch that is happening in the cluster. So as an administrator, I don't have to really worry about how my one change is causing an issue or at least a warning in somewhere else in the cluster. Here Cloudera Manager is really taking care of it. So what Cloudera Manager looks at is, oops, name node has a heap size of 1 GB, but secondary name node which is supposed to match that does not have that. So we'll simply make it work here. So it is this simple. So we'll restart the HDFS now. So when the service is restarting, you could see all the commands that are running. Coming back to Cloudera Manager, what we found right now is that the issue is sorted out. So the next issue that we are supposed to tackle is that Zookeeper is running on one machine. Ideally, it should be running on 3 machines. So let's fix that warning. So we click on instances, and right now only one zookeeper is running. We will simply add two more machines to the zookeeper quorum. So this is where zookeeper is getting installed. Once that is done, we'll restart the zookeeper services and we will have 3 zookeeper servers running, and that would mean that our cluster has no more warnings. So zookeeper is getting installed. Should take a couple of minutes, and once that is done, we'll restart zookeeper. So let's restart zookeeper. So zookeeper is completely on all 3 machines. And now what we see is all the warnings from our Hadoop cluster are gone. So let's quickly look at services one by one. We are seeing HBase is running, HDFS is running, Hive, U, Impala, MapReduce, Uzi, Scoop, and Zookeeper. So let's quickly look at the hosts that we have in this particular cluster, and let's look at each and everything. So health issues tab will tell us all the health issues that are right now there in the cluster. As of now, there are no health issues. Are there any configuration issues with the cluster? No, there are no configuration issues with the cluster. Any recent commands that we've run? Yes, we have restarted HDFS a couple of times and we have restarted Zookeeper a couple of times. So this is kind of a Zookeeper or Cloudera Manager dashboard, and here you see couple of reports that tell you the cluster CPU, the disk IO, and so on and so forth, along with the units. The next thing we see is a services tab where we can individually see each and every service. So for example, when we click on HDFS, this gives us list of all the HDFS services. There was a concern when we were restarting the HDFS, but now that's done. These are all the charts which talk about HDFS. And when it comes to HDFS, these are the 4 services running: data node, name node, secondary name node, and a balancer. Balancer is to balance out HDFS. So let's look at what instances are running HDFS. So there is one balancer running on machine .29. There are 4 data nodes running. There is one name node running, and there is one secondary name node running. What commands have we run? So far we restarted HDFS couple of times. Configurations. So entire HDFS site.xml that we had and we were updating it, here we can do it and without restarting the without basically going to the command line. So we can change the setting and we'll be simply able to restart the service from here. So in our demo so far we restarted twice. First when we changed the heap size of the name node, and second when we changed the heap size of the data node or the secondary name node. So audit tabs will convey you if any changes have taken place in the cluster. So these are some of the commands that I've run. Charts will show you all the charts pertaining to HDFS, and this is used for monitoring. So this is the concept of monitoring where you see amazing amount of charts running on the services, on the namespace stats, on the data node processes. There'll be a lot of charts you will see on each and every topic. So there are some 150 charts that you would see on this particular UI. And you can search for anything. Is there a block corruption? Is there over replication? Is there any pending deletion remaining? Are there any missing blocks? So this graphs will show you list of all those parameters. So this is very, very rich for monitoring. When you have Cloudera monitoring or Cloudera manager, you don't need a separate tool for monitoring because Cloudera manager has everything inbuilt. Cloudera manager has everything inbuilt for monitoring. Can we click and see the name node web UI? Yes, you see the same name node web UI here. And what you see is that there are 4 live nodes running. These are the 4 live nodes running, and each one giving us 88 GB of capacity, exactly the same way we've seen in the manual setup. So this is all about HDFS, and this is the status of HDFS. So what we've seen so far is we've seen all the details of HDFS services, and we've seen how to basically go to the name node web UI. Let's look at HBase. So HBase is also configured in our cluster. Let's look at the instances that are running HBase. So for HBase, we have 4 region servers and 1 master. Clicking on instances will show us that the master is running on .29 and there are 4 region servers which are running in HBase. We'll see all the commands that I've run so far. So we have, after the setup, not run any command, and these are the configurations. So any configuration that you want to change in HBase, we can simply do it from this particular UI and restart the service. There are incredible amount of reports that you have exactly the same way you have for HDFS. You will be having all the reports for HBase. We'll have all the reports for HBase. So again, for HBase, there are 150 reports. You can find missing tables, missing blocks, and so on and so forth. You can also visit HBase UI from here, and here what we see is the version of HBase, the tasks. There are right now 2 tables, root and meta, and there are 4 region servers or 4 slaves that are running for HBase. So this is HBase for us, which is running on .29. Next service that we are going to talk about is Hive. So as of now, Hive is running. So there is one Mehta Store server and there are 4 gateway machines. Gateway machines are machines that basically have access to the Hadoop cluster. You can just visualize gateway as a client machine. So right now Mehta Store is running on .29 and there are 4 gateway machines. And these are all the configurations of Hive that are out there. These are all the configuration of Hive that are out there. So what we've seen is we've seen Hive. Let's look at the next service, that is U. U is an incredible service that gives you a flexibility to do all your Hadoop tasks right from the user interface, So let's visit U Web UI and see all of that. So let's look at where is U running. U is running on .29. When you click on this machine, you are logged into U. So as usual, the first time we click something, that becomes our username password. So we are logging into U. First time it may take some time because it's creating the user in the background. So what we see is we are in U right now, and we can have a look at all the ecosystem projects that are out there. So this is the home for U. We can play with Hive. So we can very well say show tables, and Hive will let us execute that. We can save queries, we can look at list of tables, all that is absolutely possible. As of now, there is no table. So let's quickly create a table. And we say execute. So this creates a table for us. And we say show tables here. So we see a table called as U or dummy. Now Impala at the base of its property should be able to let us query table that is created in Hive. That's what we are going to do here. We are going to say show tables. And once we do show tables, we should be able to see a dummy table. Now, if we don't see a table, the reason is very clear that we have to invalidate the metadata because Mehta Store is owned by Hive and Impala will have to get refreshed. So we'll say invalidate metadata. Show tables. Let's make sure Impala is connecting to the same database. It should connect to the same default database. And we see dummy. So what we've seen with the help of you, we don't have to go to command line. We can run our Hive, Impala, and we can also run pig. So this is pig editor. We can type our commands here. We can submit, we can save, and we can even run the files. Next is file browser. In the file browser, what we are going to do is we'll be able to see, or we will be able to browse HDFS. We will be able to browse HDFS. So let's do that right now. So here we see user admin. We are free to upload a file. It's apparently uploaded. So should be up, and here we see second etl.pig. Then you have Mehta Store Manager, which manages the Mehta Store. So right now the Mehta Store has a table called as dummy, and dummy has a single field called as IP. So this is the Mehta Store Manager. Next is scoop. So you can do scoop directly from you. You can schedule your jobs. You can have a job designer. So in job designer, you can upload your jobs. In Uzi, you can create your Uzi jobs right from the Uzi dashboard. So here we are free to create our own Uzi workflows. In the job designer, could design that we want a new MapReduce job and give all the details. So here we can say new action, it's a MapReduce, and you can specify your file. Along with that, you have HBase browser. U shell is something that has to be enabled so you can see command line right from the browser. This is HBase, and HBase currently is configured on localhost, so we are not administrating HBase in this course, so that's why we'll ignore it. And then there is user administration. In user administration, we can add new users, we can add groups, that's absolutely. So we can add a new user, we can add groups, and we can have permission for groups. So these are permissions. These are all the permissions that somebody has. So let's create a new group. So the name of the group will be dummy. Right now we'll not add any, and let's say we give all the permissions, or we can choose to remove any permission. So we can simply say, let's say pig is not there. So we can add this new group. Later we can add users to that group. So it's a typical ACL that we have always been having. We say dummy, it's dummy, password is dummy. Next, put it in a dummy thing, Mr. Dummy. It's active, and say add user. So that's how you go about adding user to you. So we've seen how to basically browse U, and U comes along with your Cloudera manager, so there is no separate process that you need to do, and U will just be there for us. The next service that we are going to look is Impala. So again, Impala is having an Impala catalog and state store. We've seen that in the lab, and we'll have Impala servers, and they are running right now on the cluster. We can view the Impala web UI. So this is Impala, and this is the state store UI, and this is the catalog UI. So this is Impala UI. Next is MapReduce. We'll have MapReduce UI, Uzi UI, Scoop, Zookeeper. So you can actually look at each and every service and the instances that are running, the configurations and their UI. The next thing we look at is hosts. As of now, there are 4 hosts in our cluster. The first host is running 24 roles. That means the first host is master, region, server, and so on and so forth. These are all the services that first host is running. For others, they are just running 6 services: region server, data node, gateway, Impala daemon, task tracker, and server. So these are the hosts that are running. Now we can add new hosts to the cluster, and this will take us back to the same UI where we started. In here, we are free to go for launch classic wizard. We've already done that, but here let's look at the other UI. In the other UI, what you see is you can tell Amazon, or you can tell Cloudera manager that please go to Amazon and purchase machines from us. So let's say we'll use m1.large if we want 4 more machines, and we can have Cloudera CDH. we'll have to give our Amazon credentials, and after that the whole thing would get through. So after that the process is going to remain the same, but for that you require an account with AWS secret key and password, which I right now don't have. But the process is acquire your credentials from Amazon, put it here, and Cloudera Manager on your behalf will go and purchase those machines for you. So this was all about how to add new machines to the cluster. You can upgrade, you can run an upgrade from here. These are all the packages that are available for you. These are all the packages which are available out here. These are all the templates that we have. So template could be a gateway, a region server, a data node. The easiest way to look at a template is if you buy a new machine, you can simply say apply it a data node template, and that will become a data node machine. That will become a data node machine. If Cloudera has given new or released new what you call services, you could simply search for new parcels, and if there are new parcels, you can find them here. Then you have activities. There is a diagnosis log. There is administration where you can have users, you can have events. So right now there is one user. You can put alerts for yourself. You have all the reports possible. Whatever reports are required, you can download them. All the charts, we've already seen all the charts on the server or service side. We can import more charts in this particular UI. Now let's quickly look at one important activity that we want to do. So we've kind of set up a cluster, and we've done a lot of effort when it comes to setting up high availability. Let's see how we are going to set up high availability here by just clicking some of the buttons. That's it. So click on instances and just say enable high availability. After that, it's Cloudera Manager's job to do the whole thing for you. So we've already said we'll have 3 zookeepers, and we are all ready right now. We can choose who can be the journal node. We are okay in having these 3. Who should be a standby name node? We'll go for the second machine. And from here, we go on continuing. So it'll ask us for some default configurations. We'll just keep them default. So here we are supposed to give certain directories. So let's give dfsjn, dfsjn, dfsjn. That's journal nodes. Now that we've given this, the entire high availability setup that we did for 60 minutes will be done in 19 steps. And as an administrator, I don't have to type anything. This will be completely done for us. So what we see here is Cloudera Manager is a hardcore control center for us, where we could set up a cluster, we could monitor each and every host, we can monitor each and every service, we can add new nodes, we can remove nodes, we can have alerts, we can control users, we have you, and stuff like high availability and all could just be done on a click of a button, So let's wait for these steps to complete. So we are on step 7. So in a 19 step process, entire high availability would be done without writing a single command. That's the power of Cloudera Manager. And as we've seen in the beginning, comes with two versions. One is the free version, another is the enterprise version. Enterprise version also includes the support from Cloudera. So we're on step 15. So all the HDFS dependent services are getting started. Should take a couple of minutes, and finally the configurations would be deployed on the clients so that everybody is aware of high availability. So what we see is that entire high availability setup is done and our cluster is ready with high availability. So we have a small warning which says what we require for what do you call U is HTTPFS and not Web HDFS, but we will right now ignore that. And that is how you go about doing your high availability. Now that we've configured high availability, we are going to ignore the U warning. Let's quickly look at how do you upgrade your cluster to, let's say, 2.x. So right now yarn is not working, and here we are going to configure yarn. So it's kind of an upgrade process. So we click on add a service and we choose yarn to be there. So what we want is yarn to be configured. So once we say configure yarn, Cloudera Manager will just take care of setting up yarn for us. Say continue, say accept, and what we would see is this is a small process which we wanted to demonstrate as to how to upgrade your cluster or how to add a new service. Click on add new service, you can upgrade to the next version or add a new service. Here we set up everything on MapReduce 1.x, and in a moment we are setting up on 2.x and we are 100% ready here. So in a moment we'll have 2.x 100% up and running for us. So yarn service is getting started. And what we see is it's so simple to basically upgrade or add a service in your Hadoop cluster with the help of Cloudera Manager. Had this been 1.x or a manual setup, we would have to go to individual machine, stop 1.x, set up 2.x and go on with that. That would have taken a lot of time. Here in a couple of minutes we are up and running with yarn. So here we have yarn up and running. So what we've seen is our Hadoop 100% setup and we've controlled it. We'll just ignore this warning. So this was a quick walkthrough of Cloudera Manager. So what we've seen in this entire lab of administration courses, we first start going on Amazon. We buy 4 machines and we were on a mission to install cluster manually. After we did manual setup, we installed Hive and Impala. We installed U manually and we set up high availability manually. This was all manual, excellent for learning. Then we came to Cloudera Manager, and that entire process of setting up a cluster, installing Hive and Impala, installing U, and setting up high availability along with the upgrades was done in a very automated way in around 1 hour. So that was all about Cloudera Manager. Thanks for watching this administration series. Thank you.